Good morning to you and welcome to Global Spotlight. And we run you through around the globe and as much as news is concerned. Words out at your fingertips. Nigerian student develops a smart glove to convert sign language into speech. Muhammad Habib Hussein, a student of the Department of Computer and Communications Engineering at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi, has created the Enheed Smart Glove. This advanced wearable device converts sign language into spoken words. The innovation, powered by AI, is set to transform communication for all people with speech or hearing impairments. Footage captured on Monday shows Hussein demonstrating his innovation, working on its components in his dormitory room and attending lectures at his campus. The inspiration behind the Enheed Smart Glove is actually my immediate younger sister. The immediate younger sister is born with the ability of not being able to talk, Hussein shared. Despite equipment and material shortages, Hussein pushed forward with his project, driven by support from his university peers and his determination to transform communication for sign language users. People with special abilities are living evidence that limits can lead if only they have the right aid or the right resources to be able to project their abilities, he emphasized. He also planned to make major improvements to the current prototype, noting that he would expand the vocabulary it can handle and the glove's structure as well, increasing from 5 to 10 fingers. Dr. Issa Yakub Mohammed, one of Hussein's lecturers, discussed their collaborative efforts and expressed his support for the student to persist in his future path. With the way the boy is going, I think there are a lot of things that he can come up with, particularly a solution that will help people with disabilities, he stated. The Enheed Smart Glove, designed and built by Hussein, uses pressure sensors and microcontroller to detect flight and hand movements, instantly is translating them into spoken language. This innovative device aims to bridge communication gaps and is gaining recognition for its potential to help thousands in Nigeria and beyond, according to local media. While precise figures for a speech impairment, the prevalence in Nigeria are unavailable, the number of people suffering from speech disorders varies from 30 to 44.4%, according to various sources. The majority of cases are among children.
So the project or the device is still very much under construction. It's a prototype now, and it has faced so many challenges in terms of accuracy and efficiency. Like for instance, there's limited sensors. I had to work with limited materials, so I had to cut corners when it comes to giving out quick and responsive output. And then there are limited vocabularies, although it has a potential of acquiring over 1,000 vocabularies. But currently we're working with just about 3 or 4 vocabularies. And I want it to be 10 fingers, not just 5 fingers. The inspiration behind the Net Smart Glove is actually my immediate younger sister. My immediate younger sister is born with the ability of not being able to talk. And then upon coming into a work at Tafawa Balewa University, I got exposure, meet so many people of different like minds, and then we also worked with so many things. We work on so many projects together. And the internet has a wide library, limitless library. I got so many ideas from the internet as well. But the major challenge I had was lack of resources, such as a personal computer. I was in a situation whereby I had to be borrowing people's laptop, writing my code here, transferring to another person's laptop if the owner of the initial laptop collects it. So that was one of the major challenges I faced. And then secondly, I faced challenges of materials. The raw materials I used were limited, and some were not even available at all. I had to order them online. People with special abilities are living evidence that limits can lead if only they have the right aid or the right resources to be able to project their abilities. And that's what the Net Smart Glove is set out to do.
The first time we met was during the Royal Academy of Engineering hackathon organized under the Faculty of Engineering, ATB here. And then the project presented, it was about electricity generation from animal hoof, specifically from cow. And then from that engagement, and we've been working together in terms of innovation. With the way the boy is going, I think there are a lot of things that he can come up with, particularly the solution that will help the people with disabilities.
I have an idea.
Bad boy.
West not build lots. Nairobi innovators transform a plastic litter into eco-friendly construction blocks. Norma Green Plastics, a Nairobi-based startup, has revolutionized the construction by recycling plastic waste into building materials, fostering a homegrown solution to one of Nigeria's most heated environmental issues. Footage captured on Monday shows the recycling process at the company's workshop in suburban Nairobi. Workers are seen sorting plastic, pushing it into shredders, mounting items in the shape of paws, and cooling and stacking them. We recycled plastic waste, post-consumer and post-industrial waste, and we bring it to our facility. We convert this plastic waste into plastic lumber. So this is like a substitute for wood, stated Mugo Macharia, founder of the company. Inspired by the alarming situation with plastic waste in the country, which is the most populous in Africa, the entrepreneur underwent a series of challenges before turning his project into reality. Since it's all bootstrapped from savings, family and friends' finances were a challenge, said Macharia, while also mentioning the time-consuming research and development process and the scarcity of resources. So we are still very far off from actually tackling this menace. This is why we need a lot more people playing in this sector. We also need to diversify our products. He added, we want to do building blocks. We want to do roofing tiles. I think we'll be able to double or maybe increase our capacity by more than 5 times. Despite the challenges, the founder took pride in his product, a composite plastic, which is made by combining different types of plastic and blending them into a uniform material. I would encourage people to get into the waste sector. 1, because it is good for the environment. 2, if done right, it is profitable, Macharia claimed. Founded by Macharia in 2019, Norma Green Plastics seeks to fulfill its core mission in tackling plastic pollution while providing eco-friendly alternatives to wood and promoting environmental cleanup. The country's government is also set to roll out new regulations developed by support from the United Nations Environment Programme. The new legislation will extend producer responsibility by holding companies producing and using plastic packaging accountable for tackling plastic pollution. Nigeria is aiming to significantly increase the amount of plastic products it collects and recycles by 2029. Hope that justice will be served. The Cameroon's Constitutional Council reviews Kamto's appeal against the presidential bid rejection. Cameroon's Constitutional Council began hearings on Monday to examine opposition leader Maurice Kamto's appeal against the Electoral Commission Illikam's rejection of his presidential candidacy of alleged irregularities. Addressing the panel of judges, Kamto said he had no doubt the court would be clear in its judgment. Yes, you must simply conclude that Illikam was wrong to reject the application of Mr. Maurice Kamto, who meets all the requirements of Articles 110 and 122 of the Electoral Code, and in saying the justice should be done, he urged. Kamto's legal team voiced confidence in the appeal, with Barrister Desiree Sakati saying they were able to deliver relevant arguments despite what he described as inconsistencies in the law. We have developed legal arguments and presented irrefutable factual elements to the council in the hope that justice will be served not only for the Mandem candidate but also for the Cameroonian people, added Barrister Mutsapa Ngwana. Everyone must play their part. The lawyers have played theirs. It is now up to the council to decide. The case is under deliberation. I do not want to speculate about the future, so we wait for the council to make its decision, he concluded. Meanwhile, President of the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, Aniset Ikani, criticized the proceedings, calling it a staged play. Everyone knows what it is about. The very fact that the result is being deliberated clearly shows that there will be instructions from above regarding the outcome. That much is obvious, he claimed. Last month, Kamto announced that he had resigned from the Cameroonian Renaissance movement to run for the upcoming presidential election under Mandem in response to the government's electoral restrictions. He was later disqualified from running in the election. Mandem slammed Illikam's move as blatant fraud and filed an appeal to the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council is expected to announce its ruling on Tuesday. The disqualification of Kampo, who is seen as President Paul Biya's main rival, was followed by the nomination of two other candidates from the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy. 92-year-old Biya, who has ruled the country since 1982, is seeking an eighth term as Cameroon's leader. Biya runs as a candidate for the Cameroonian People's Democratic Republic. It's not self-defense, it's mass murder. Tens of thousands march across Sydney Harbour Bridge after court declines a ban on Gaza protest. Tens of thousands of pro-Palestinian demonstrators marched across the Sydney Harbour Bridge on Sunday, protesting Australia's complicity in Israel's continued operations in Gaza after a judge rejected a police request to ban the event. Footage shows massive crowds walking across the Harbour Bridge waving Palestinian flags and carrying banners as police officers stand by monitoring the scene. Australia hasn't done enough to stand up for what is right for the international rules-based order. We're still supplying parts of F-35s that are being used in this genocide, and I hope today's gesture will send us a message that the people of Australia are not happy to accept and stand by while people suffer this terrible genocide, a protester said. I do not support the killing of civilians in the name of self-defense when it's not truly self-defense. It's just mass murder, added the second. Greens Senator Marina Faruqi, actor Miyina Wiyat, and human rights advocate Craig Forster spoke at the event, which was also attended by prominent figures such as MP Ed Husick, former Foreign Minister Bob Carr, and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. While organizers initially expected 50,000 attendees, police estimated that around 90,000 people took part in the rally, with some organizers claiming the number reached 300,000. It comes as protests continued across Australia. In Melbourne, demonstrators attempting to block the King Street Bridge were stopped by police in riot gear. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation in Gaza remains severe. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, at least 6 adults died from starvation within the last 24-hour period, bringing the total number of such deaths to 175, including 93 children. A UN report released on Thursday revealed that since May, hundreds may have also been killed near facilities run by the Israeli-supported Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, along with many more who have lost their lives along routes used by the UN-led food convoys. GHF has denied these allegations, insisting that no incidents were captured here near its facilities and claiming it only fired warning shots to prevent dangerous overcrowding. On March 2, Israel closed all border crossings and denied that starvation is taking place in the enclave despite widespread international condemnation, citing claims of Hamas intervention.
It's very disappointing. The government should be standing with us. The government should be standing against apartheid. It should be standing against genocide. The government has an international obligation and a moral obligation to stand against what's taking place. There is no doubt there is a genocide taking place, and I hope that this kind of movement can sway the government to do the right thing. Impose sanctions on Israel, impose sanctions on Israeli leaders, and eject the Israeli ambassador.
And Australia hasn't done enough to stand up for what is right, for the international rules-based order. In fact, we are still supplying parts for F-35s that are being used in this genocide. And I hope today's gesture will send a message that the people of Australia are not happy to accept and stand by while people suffer this terrible, terrible genocide.
Yes, yeah, Chris Minns wanted to put a stop to the rally. Of course, Chris Minns is also pro-Israel, and it's so great that we're here today to stand up to Chris Minns and everyone who wants to stop our right to protest in New South Wales.
I do not support the killing of civilians in the name of self-defence when it's not truly self-defence. It's just mass murder.
No sweet deal. South African citrus producers squeezed as Trump slaps on 30% tariffs, highest on continent. Citrus growers in South Africa's Gamtu's Valley expressed concern on Monday after the U.S. imposed a 30% tariff on citrus imports, a move they say undermines a long-term efforts to enter the American market. Footage shows the citrus being picked, packed and loaded for export as farmers described years of preparation. We don't export to the U.S. from this valley, said Frederick Koch, CEO of Pantisi Citrus. We've been investing in varieties and orchards and different technologies we need for that market, but it's not been coming yet. He noted, warning that if U.S. restrictions persist, fruit from the Western Cape could flood traditional markets, including Europe, China, and India, disrupting supply and driving down prices. Cook added that while the global focus on tariffs could spark overdue trade reform, the uncertainty is damaging. We don't know what the outcomes will be. I just hope that all of this will be better off afterwards. and that's where the uncertainty lies. We will be or not. We don't know yet. Sunday's River Citrus CEO Hans D. Wall echoed the frustration, stating producers had waited for years for U.S. access. This environment that now has been created by the new American administration is not one that will make for easy negotiation for additional fruit from South Africa or other geographical areas. If there's going to be a move in volumes away from the United States, it's going to be very important to develop markets, underscored Gua Osthuizian, Agri Gamtus Farmers Association chairperson. That's where we need the government, and they're doing it already, and where the CGA is taking the lead to help the producers to get access and to increase the volumes coming into markets, he persisted. The CGA has raised concerns over the announced new tariff on South African citrus exports, warning it would put the industry at a serious disadvantage compared to competitors facing only a 10% levy. With new tariffs set to take effect on August 8, the government is accelerating efforts to diversify exports by expanding intra-African trade and tapping into high-growth markets including the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, China and Thailand. An export support desk has been launched to help producers secure alternative buyers.
We don't export to the US from this valley. We are hoping to get access to the USA since 2014 already. It's been hanging in the balance, and we have been waiting for the Trump administration and after that the Biden administration to give us access. We've been preparing for it. We've been investing in varieties, in orchards, in different technologies we need for that market, but it's not been coming yet. So at the moment we don't export anything to the USA. I think the biggest impact is on market disruption. If the destined fruit from the Western Cape doesn't go to the USA, they will end up in our traditional markets, which is mostly Europe, but also places like China, Russia, Middle East, India even. We don't know what the outcomes will be, and I think it's a good thing in a certain sense that tariffs in general are now on the agenda of everybody in the world. It's something that needs to be addressed. You need to find a better way of doing it. I mean, it's not only with the USA, we have tariffs with India and with China and other regions, that South Korea, which we also need to address as well. And he's certainly put it on the agenda, but the outcome is still uncertain. His way of doing things is a little bit different, and but maybe it's necessary. I just hope that all of us will be better off afterwards, and that's where the uncertainty lies. Will we or not, we don't know yet.
If there is a problem in Durban, that problem affects us in some way, which will affect the northern producers, but then us. If there's a problem in Cape Town, that problem will affect us at the end of the day. And farmers understand this. You must also understand that farmers were awaiting access to the United States. And this environment that now has been created by the new American administration is not one that will make for easy negotiation for additional fruit from South Africa or other geographical areas into the United States.
So if there's going to be a move in volumes away from the United States, and that's basically your oranges or your navel varieties and then your soft citrus varieties. If that moves do take place of volumes, it's going to be very important to develop markets. And that's where we need government, and they're doing it already, and where the CGA is taking the lead to help the producers to get access and to increase the volumes going into markets.
All right, and lastly, in the global spotlight for this particular morning.
We're here by conviction, shared purpose, and a collective refusal to accept the limits imposed on us by an outdated global health order. We're here because we choose to lead reform, to heal and reimagine.
So, Africa must no longer be the patient. Ghana's Mahama calls for leadership amid the global healthcare governance challenges. Ghanaian President John Mahama believes African nations have a shared purpose in leading the reform of the global healthcare system, which he said has excluded the continent's voice, speaking at the Africa Health and Serenity Summit in Accra on a Tuesday. Hereby conviction, shared purpose, and a collective refusal to accept the limits imposed on us by the outdated global health order. We're here because we choose to lead reform to health and reimagine what our healthcare systems can be, he said. Mahama pointed to mounting global challenges such as wars and economic volatility as factors undermining the region's health structures. He warned that global healthcare is failing to adapt to these evolving threats and therefore urged African nations to take the lead in shaping a new future for its citizens. The world has changed, but the global health governance has not kept pace with the changing world. At this moment, we are called to redesign the architecture that has far too long excluded Africa's voices, excluded Africa's needs and innovations. We're called for build systems that do more than respond to crisis. We must build systems that generate resilience, produce equity, and amplify the dignity of our people, he declared. The Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, warned that millions are missing care as international cuts to foreign aid continue to undermine healthcare systems, with support declining by as much as 40% over the past 2 years, according to the World Health Organization's latest projections. We need leadership from governments to invest in their people and their health. We need leadership from creditors to offer concessional lending at fair terms. We need leadership from donors to strengthen national health systems, not to create parallel ones. Ultimately, health is not a cost to be contained. It's an investment to be nurtured in people, in stability, and in prosperity, he said. Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, echoed these sentiments, stressing the need for global partnership, solidarity, cooperation, and collaboration. The Africa Health and Serenity Summit brought together political leaders, policymakers, and health ministers to push for reform of global health governance and to strengthen national healthcare systems. This year's summit launched the Accra Initiative, aimed at boosting regional investment, equity-driven healthcare, and self-reliance systems.
We're not gathered here today by chance. We're here by conviction, shared purpose, and a collective refusal to accept the limits imposed on us by an outdated global health order. We're here because we choose to lead reform, to heal, and reimagine what our healthcare systems can be. This summit comes at a time of overlapping and intensifying global crises. We have wars, we have pandemics, we have climate shocks, we have economic volatility, and widening inequalities. And these are not just testing our systems. Indeed, they are exposing where the fault lines are. The world has changed, but global health governance has not kept pace with the changing world. At this moment, we're called to redesign the architecture that has for far too long excluded Africa's voices, excluded Africa's needs and innovations. We're called to build systems that do more than respond to crisis. We must build systems that generate resilience, produce equity, and amplify dignity of our people. Africa must no longer be the patient. It must be the driver. It must be the author. It must be the architect and the advocate of its own health destiny.
As you all know, sudden and steep cuts to aid are now causing the most severe disruptions to health systems since the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to WHO's latest analysis, health aid is projected to decline by up to 40% this year compared to just 2 years ago. This is not a gradual shift, it's a cliff edge. Life-saving medicines are sitting in warehouses, health workers are losing jobs, clinics are closing, and millions are missing care. The difference between crisis and opportunity is leadership. We need leadership from governments to invest in their people and their health. We need leadership from creditors to offer concessional lending at fair terms. We need leadership from donors to strengthen national health systems, not create parallel ones. Ultimately, health is not a cost to be contained. It's an investment to be nurtured in people, in stability, and in prosperity.
Over the past 5 years, now combined with a rapid acceleration in decline over the past 8 months.
The way we handled HIV/AIDS in particular should give us something to cheer about, something to give us hope, and something that can lead us to where we need to go in the fractured global health situation that we are in now. But we need health fund for Africa. Global. I believe at the global level, we should have health security for all. Health security for all. Here in this country, some time ago, the slogan was Ghana Beyond Aid. I believe the slogan for us should be now Africa Health Without Aid. But with global partnership, solidarity, cooperation, and collaboration, and of course, togetherness.